Welcome to the 3 a.m. podcast. My name is DJ.
My name is Sean.
My name's Charlie.
We're best friends. Try to tell scary stories. Try to make jokes.
That's it.
That's it. The other week, do you remember the rapper Silento?
Oh, Salento.
Yeah.
Oh,
He got arrested for driving over 140 miles an hour down the freeway.
You just laugh.
It's funny because he's been receiving a lot of flack recently
Yeah.
for a lot of different things. Some of them serious, some of them not so serious.
He was driving his whip and the cop said, nay, nay.
I guess they were watching his whip. But his ex-girlfriend, him and his ex-girlfriend were in some argument. I don't know if there was like domestic abuse going on or something. But did you hear about this?
No, it's just, we're keeping it light. Domestic abuse.
Yeah. Well, he shows up at her house, just walks in. Her family's there. I don't think she's there, but he's looking for her, and he's brandishing like a hatchet, like an axe.
My
Luckily,
gosh.
the ex-girlfriend's father was strapped and disarmed him and called the police. But he got a ton of flack for that.
As you should.
As one should, as one does. And the other one was picture surface of his anus, and it's like a
Wait, what? Did you say the right words just now?
picture surface of his anus because
A picture surface of his anus.
yeah.
I thought you said, like, I need you to picture the surface of his anus. I was like,
Well,
one.
that too, because everybody's been clowning him because it's prolapsed.
Dude. Where do you get your damn news, son? You need to go to church.
I think people were saying it was a lookalike on like an OnlyFans, like it looked just like him. So people were framing it as that, and then it took off, Twitter and whatnot. But
It's too late. Once
God
it's in the Twitter
damn.
sphere, dude.
well, apparently the car that he was arrested and caught speeding in is like a 2020 BMW. Like he's still making money, which is, I mean, when did that song come out?
I don't know.
2016?
Yeah, probably something
15?
like that. Yeah.
5 years later, still buying like a brand new, like pretty high end car.
From what I hear, though, most of those rappers are not wealthy, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this whole pandemic thing is like,
What do you mean not
Bankrupt.
wealthy, really?
I don't know, a lot of like fake money. Like the labels will give them money,
So they're like,
but it's all advanced, and just like you owe us that back. So they're all like,
oh, okay.
I
yeah,
was gonna say
yeah.
I need some of that fake money.
Yeah.
because that would be real nice.
Yeah, labels
I'm
make
down.
them like literally like slave away. All artists.
yeah.
They'll give them a ton of money up front, and then the next 5
But
years
you
they
owe
have
us
to.
and interest.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
Would we take that money all up front, but then have be like a slave and have to?
Depends on how much.
It
money.
all depends. Yeah. How much was the deal like?
Yeah.
How much of the content we own?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have artists who will like put their heart into an album or a project, and then they'll present it to the label owners, and the label will be
won't
like,
like it.
"Well, this isn't what we
Marketable
like."
or something.
Yeah, or this
Yeah.
is too different or whatnot. So I don't know. They're not happy doing what they're doing anymore because someone else is telling them how to do it.
Yeah. No, I don't know. Not that we are anywhere near that level.
Never know, dude. Secret. Sending out them good vibes.
Sean's
bro.
right. I need to be more positive. It's like we're doing this for us and the 8 listeners out there.
Shout out,
You know
guys.
who you are. Yeah.
It's so funny because we get so stoked. We like genuinely get so excited for like we had 400 views on YouTube. It's the most we've ever had on a YouTube video.
We're like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
If you know anything about YouTube, that's nothing.
yeah.
That's
If
everything.
you've ever
bro.
been on YouTube, if anyone's heard of it,
Yeah.
know.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
.com.
This thing called YouTube.
Recently, and when I say recently, I mean by yesterday,
Oh,
an underground fight club in New York with over 200 participants was broken up.
no.
Who the
They
hell
broke it
talked,
up.
dude?
It's
Somebody talked
who's
about it.
talking? All
Obviously us right now.
all white collar workers.
No way. Like this was legit.
Yeah.
That's sick.
And in the thread, people were talking about how like the movie like is based off, real events. Like not actual like the characters aren't real, but apparently
That
this
premise.
is common, especially in New York in the 80s and 90s.
What the hell?
Yeah. Yeah. Underground fight clubs.
I had no idea.
So crazy.
Would you guys?
And people betting big money too.
Dude, yeah.
I mean, they're
would
white collar
definitely.
workers in New York, so I assume they're in Wall Street.
I heard like
them
Robert
wars,
Paulson was
you know?
a real character though.
His name was Robert Paulson. Would you guys do a fight club?
Yeah,
I don't know if I would, man. I'm getting old. My body aches.
bro.
I used to box a lot in high school, and I think I had so many headaches and stuff. I'm chill. I don't need that.
Maybe if I came straight out the frat and like became like a sales bro for, I don't know.
Yeah, if I was 24 again, I would do it.
Yeah,
but
yeah. No, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like if I was a little younger, acting like that was years ago. You
I
know?
it really
have
was.
so
just
much
turned 29.
repressed anger that I need to let it out somehow. And I feel like that would be a really healthy outlet.
Why don't you go do like jujitsu or something?
I've been thinking about it. I got that app. Shout out you guys.
Sponsor.
Sponsor. Help, please.
I'm gonna bleep that until they
Um,
sponsor us.
But they got like boxing gyms, jujitsu, all kinds of stuff. So I'm start hitting them stuff.
Did you guys ever take karate?
I took judo.
Did you?
Yeah.
How was it?
I
Any
loved
fun
it.
memories of that?
So there's the mat everyone practices on, and it's like the whole room almost. And I was on the edge of the mat by the door, and we were sparring. We were practicing different throws, and my head hit the floor. Like whoever threw me, like we went just off the edge. And my back hit the mat, but then my head hit the tile floor.
Oh,
and
that
melon straight to the
sucks,
ground.
dude.
yeah, I was sad about that. It made me real sad.
Wow.
It made me real concussed.
Yeah.
Did I watch Karate Kid, dude?
That was your martial arts?
Cobra
yeah.
Kai.
Teenage Mutant Ninja
Dude,
Turtles. bro.
why is Cobra Kai such a big show right now?
I really enjoyed the first season.
It's like it's very corny,
Yeah, yeah,
which has its like time and space.
true. Well, I think it almost is like the same kind of corn as the movies was, though. Like, I didn't really think the movies were super serious.
I think nostalgia
Oh,
is
really?
insanely marketable.
I guess. Wait, does it follow? Like, is it supposed to be like a sequel to
It's like
Karate Kid or like
The
an offshoot?
Karate Kid grew up, and it's them when they're like 40.
Okay.
Yeah, like the main antagonist and protagonist of the first Karate Kid.
Oh,
Yeah,
just
Like the actual Karate
like
Kid is now a
Creed,
karate
basically.
adult.
yeah, kind
Creed
of.
and Rocky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of. Except instead of focusing on some new kid, it's like still
Yeah.
to old people. I don't know. I didn't really watch it, but that's what.
I enjoyed it. I haven't watched the second season because I wasn't able to get into it as much as that first one.
I feel.
But like YouTube was super smart with it. Like they released 2 episodes,
And then made you pay for the rest.
Then they're like, get YouTube Red, and you can see the rest.
That's just disgusting when someone does
Dude.
something like that. They kind of like tease you and then make you pay for the rest.
Yeah, screw them.
Gross.
I hate that.
Me too. Going back to karate real quick. I did Kempo.
Oh, really?
Come with open hands or some shit like that. But I remember it being like a pretty big part of my life for like a year or two.
Well, damn.
And you had to level up, and that was like really serious. They would bring people down from like LA or whoever like the branch was under. They'd bring them there to make sure your forms were on par and everything like that. So I took it with Reed and Louie, Reed from Thailand episode, and his parents were also in the class.
Oh, damn.
You guys had like, it was like your calling.
Oh,
your
it's like
destiny.
family, dude.
Yeah.
Blood run thick. Yes. And in order, like the kids to do it, in order for them to progress and become the next belt, they just had to do the forms. So it's basically just dancing
Yep.
there
Yeah.
alone.
Nice.
Did you guys
But
already get to start at like yellow belt? Well,
I think we
everyone else
started at white.
White.
no, I think we were white.
Oh, you don't have the privilege?
No, they were like,
That
your skin's
sucks.
enough. You don't
Dude.
need a belt to be yellow.
Asians don't get that privilege.
No. They're like, you're negative actually.
Your eyesight is out of whack.
10-10, not 20. But okay, so for the kids, all we had to do was like dance around the mat and kind of yell "Hia." But for the adults, they had to do the forms, and then in order to get their belt, they had to let the sensei kick them in the stomach as hard as they could. And so I remember going, and I was like, dude, I'm so happy I'm not about to get kicked. And Reed's dad is up, And I think the mom went first, and I think the sensei kind of went like 80%, but with Reed's dad, he went 100%. So he's sitting there and he's like, ah, and the sensei goes, boom, and kicks him right in the chest and broke like his bottom 4 ribs. And he had to like stand up and stand there and get his belt for the ceremony and stuff. And they went to the hospital and he had broken ribs. I was like, damn, y'all are taking this seriously.
Too seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen that TikTok where it's like Muay Thai
I'm
fighters?
going to stop you right there. No. But continue.
Well, it's on other platforms
Yeah, yeah.
now. Whereas this one Muay Thai fighter just eating punches in his abdomen, and this dude's just like going at him, and he's just kind of standing there, and then he starts like kneeing him and everything. He's just standing there, starts smiling. He's like, "Come on."
Oh
I was like,
gosh.
"Damn, this fool's hard."
One of my best friends growing up since when I was 4 years old. His name's Justin Chen, and
Shout out.
his mother is from the Philippines, and his father's from Singapore.
Ooh.
And I knew him from church. And his father was at one point like the youth group leader, the young men's leader, as we call it. And super cool. Would play games with everybody, video games like Halo with everybody. Just super like the cool uncle kind of vibe. But growing up, we would watch a ton of different kung fu movies, which is pretty normal, at least in Hawaii, because all the Asians, like we all watch kung fu movies, but he got like the import straight from Singapore, like the almost like the home videos of like kung fu. And I remember watching this one video,
Like real people dying.
real elephants being saved. No, yeah, he gave us this one DVD and he was like, watch this. We're like, what is it? He's like, just watch it. Which sounds sketch.
Yeah, hell.
But then he was always really in our best interest and still is. He's a homie until today. But we pop it in and it's these Shaolin monks, dude. Like the orange robes with like the long white socks and like the black.
Just Aang.
I don't know. Yeah, Aang. Yeah, Avatar Airbender almost. All shaved heads.
Or
and-
Ong. I don't know.
but they're all training, and you may have seen clips of this before or something like it, but they all have like the different names. Like getting punched in the stomach is like supposed to be like iron belly or something like that.
Yeah.
And they just get pummeled over and over and over again. There were dudes who would hang like stones from their wieners and just like swing them.
They're trying to
And,
make
like,
them longer.
Yeah.
God, this cursed us.
Yeah, y'all needed that help.
Add another stone.
Yeah, and then afterwards they would take off like the rope and the stone and like get kicked in the nuts and like just take it, dude.
Oh,
Yeah, people like
my
they would
gosh.
invite anybody from the crowd to be like, kick this dude as hard as you can. They take it, no reaction, just stone cold killers. Dude.
I heard in like Shaolin monks' temples, the trees will all have holes in them. And it's from years and years of them going like this with their finger. Bam, 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 like hitting them as hard as you can.
That makes my
And they
fingers
like
hurt.
shatter the tips of their fingers to make them super strong so that they can practice the 2-finger handstand where they're just on 2 fingers. And I think 4 people can do it, like living people.
Dude, I saw that in Shaolin soccer though, like 4 or 5 people at least.
The training videos was the first time I saw somebody do like planche push-ups.
What's that?
And it's when you do push-ups, your body's parallel to the ground and your feet aren't touching.
Oh my
You're just
Oh,
using your
yeah,
hands.
dude.
And then they get to the point where they're just using like 2 fingers on both hands and they're doing push-ups straight. And like as a 8-year-old watching that, feel like a Chinese like camcorder, you know, like blew my mind. I was like, what?
There's nothing like a freaking Asian to freaking humble your entire existence. Whatever you do, a Chinese boy or girl
Is better than
under
you
the
at
age
it.
of 10 will destroy your life at it. So quit now is the message.
That's true.
So
That's true.
funny. My girlfriend's from Utah, right? And
That segue is just crazy. I thought you were going to say China for some reason, even though I know her.
she's from Utah, and she watched her first kung fu movie ever with me, and it was the classic kung fu movie, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Li Mu Bai.
Li Mu Bai, dude. And I remember watching that movie over and over and over again with my brothers and my mom and my dad and everybody.
Yeah.
Dude, it was just a common household movie in every household in Hawaii. But
I think that was the first movie I saw with subtitles
really,
where I like cared. And I was like trying to read fast.
yeah. I think that could be. I could say the same for that too, maybe. But she just could not get over the fact that they're like flying all over the place,
But how?
which is so funny. Yeah, like she's like, I can't take this seriously. They're flying, and I was like, this is how it actually is in China.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all got like Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
That makes sense. Thumb people, Floop is a madman, help us, save us. That makes sense. But being able to jump up on a 6-foot wall is somehow incomprehensible.
Unbelievable. Yeah, y'all like this huge green man who just punches buildings. Yeah. Oh man. Real quick to wrap up the Fight Club though.
Oh, snap.
It's called, the name of the club was called Rumble in the Bronx. And it's funny because in the article you read it, at least I found the article in Washington Post, and they're talking about, you know, how long it's been going on and the ringleader or whoever like rallied this whole thing together. And they're like, the night they got caught, which was yesterday or two days ago, tons of people had guns without licenses and they were all loaded.
Okay, what?
And on top of that, no one was social distancing.
Okay, the guns is one thing.
Yeah.
But you
Son of a social distancing.
Put your GD mask on.
If you're not fighting from 6 feet apart, that's hilarious.
You only need long range attacks.
Here's
here.
the
That's
thing,
why I
though.
brought those guns.
All these psychopaths are like getting their rocks off. And not to call them psychopaths, it's just funny to say that. But all these dudes, and I assume it's mainly dudes,
All these big wigs.
but like they're getting their steam out through this thing, and we're just gonna come shut it down. It's like, that's, you know, I don't know. Like, they might look for other avenues.
Yeah.
I may be a lot of missing homeless people soon.
It's like stopping a tiger from crouching,
Oh my god.
or a dragon from hiding.
Hidden. Yeah. Damn. Wrap it all together.
Oh gosh.
Goodness hell. Should we get into stories?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's roll them die. DJ, thanks for being like the current events dude.
It's fun. Like it just makes it random.
Charlie got a 16. DJ got a
14.
oh, and Sean gets a 2.
3.
Damn. Cool. So the order goes Charlie, DJ, Sean. All right. So you guys remember I talked about demons 2 episodes ago.
Really?
I did.
What?
Go back and listen.
About demons?
I think it's
so.
69
Oh.
or is it 68? I can't remember.
I think it was 69.
Oh my
Dybbuk.
Anyway, so that it seemed to have pretty big response. Like a lot of people DM'd me personally, and they're just like, I had to turn it off. Thank you for the warning. Or, oh my gosh, something happened to me. Or I told you about Dom when he saw the crazy
yeah.
lady. One of our listeners, who will remain anonymous, said, quote, I'm not even done listening to Charlie's story today, but I've got a wild effing story. About addiction, possession. This just happened to me and my boyfriend like a month ago. Scariest thing I've ever been through. Anyway, she's like, I'm going to do my best to type it all up and I'll send it to you guys. So I was basically like, I am intrigued and terrified. You know, and since this is like a personal experience, I don't know, I just feel different about it. Like having been told this directly from the person who experienced it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to call her CJ.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do that. So CJ starts, she sends me her email. She says, let me know what you think about it. And I read it, and it's a wild story. And it starts, okay. First off, I hate this stuff. She's not a fan of demonic possession. And if you haven't guessed already, trigger warning, we're dealing with stuff like that. So if you're not comfortable with that, fast forward to Sean or DJ. So she says, so I recently made a really good friend who happens to be an energy balancing, basically energy healing healer. She thought before it was 100% bullshit, but after experiencing these things, she thinks it is 100% real. So she makes this friend and then later on has the experience, right? I had a few things happen. I knew I needed to make changes to my life, my own life, and I started to understand what evil is out there and how to protect yourself and your home and never to leave yourself vulnerable. As I'm diving deeper into the whole energy thing, I notice something changing about my boyfriend and I begin to have a bad feeling. So that's where we start. She's made this friend, and as she's kind of learning about these things and opening herself up to the idea, she notices these changes in her boyfriend. So, quick background on the boyfriend and his life. He's a veteran. Thank you for your service. He was in the military for 12 years and was deployed several tours and has major PTSD from the things he saw and had to do. Due to the PTSD and the injuries he sustained while there, addiction started to take over. So first it was like pain pills and stuff to deal with the physical pain. It was for his injuries, but it quickly progressed to drugs and alcohol, not just for the pain, for the emotional pain, all that stuff. After a long time of battling these addictions, he had overcome everything. So he got rid of all the drugs, all the pills, and the only thing that remained was alcohol. So this experience, I'm going to break it up into two parts. It's her experience and his experience, and it takes place over the span of 1 week.
That's so much already.
What?
Just the experience of you trying to become sober, that whole process. I just watched Beautiful Boy.
Oh,
You
yeah.
ever watch that?
Mm-mm.
It's with Steve Carell and Timothée Chalamet.
Mm-mm.
It's heavy, bro.
Really?
It's just father-son, and he gets into drugs like starting at like 16 and goes until college, and just,
That battle.
yeah.
Yeah, and it kind of makes sense, I guess. I probably should just go straight to the story, but he's progressed in his life. He's getting better. He's doing better things. He's almost there. He has this one last thing to kick, and this is when he gets targeted. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, it was the same thing in the movie.
Really?
And then I assume there's going to be some type of vicious cycle.
Oh my gosh, we'll find out.
Okay.
Okay. So like I said, this takes place over the course of a week. And these two, boyfriend and girlfriend, they are in a long distance relationship. So she's out of state and he's in another state. So over the course of this week, she notices her boyfriend is drinking a little more than normal, a little earlier than normal. And she says at the beginning of the week, it's just subtle changes. Mm-hmm. And previously when he's drunk, he's a super nice, happy drunk. And everything is jokes, everything's lighthearted. So it doesn't feel like that much of a problem. Mm-hmm. But slowly it kind of feels different. So on Tuesday, they call, they text all the time. They even FaceTime all the time. 7 a.m., they're talking, and he's already pretty drunk. 7 a.m. So this is new. This is different. She is talking to him and can tell that something's not okay. And she has a feeling that she needs to do something. So she calls one of his family members who's in his state, says, hey, I really think you need to go check on him. So that aunt shows up. She watches on FaceTime as the aunt pours all the alcohol down the drain, says, let's get over this. We'll get over this together. And she said on the screen, she watched him go from a funny drunk, and he snapped and became angry, pissed off. And she said it was kind of hard to watch. It was, crazy to see him just become so angry so fast. It started with phone calls. That's where she noticed the biggest difference. They would always start good, start normal. How's your day? Oh my gosh, this, that. But then in the middle of sentences, his voice would change and it would become darker and deeper. And he would just start saying over and over incessantly, I need to kill someone.
Dude, flags.
I need to kill anyone. I need to kill myself. He would start saying things like, I hate you. Like, I never loved you. I hate you. You're a crazy bitch. Things like this. And then he would switch and just say, everyone hates me. I need to die. I need to leave. And he would repeat this over and over and over. It would get worse and worse and worse. And then it would just go back to normal. And he'd come back. And she said she could like feel he was back, the him. And then he'd switch again. And he'd just start mumbling. She said she saw like a physical shift in his face. He had green eyes. And she said they would become dark, almost black. And he would do this cycle where he'd just talk about death, suicide. He'd start reliving the scariest, worst moments in Iraq out loud, just telling her the worst things he had ever seen, the worst things he thought, things he wanted to do. And then all of a sudden he'd switch and go back and say, I love you. I love you so much. And then on a dime, you crazy bitch. No one loves you. Everyone hates you. And so she's sitting there on the phone with him, a state away. Like, could you imagine, have you ever had someone struggle or go through something that you love and you can't help them? It's like the worst feeling in the world. And I could not imagine adding in a state of distance. Like you would feel so helpless.
Was she doing this on the phone, or is she doing like a Zoom or Skype?
I think
call?
they would FaceTime and stuff.
Okay.
So they would go back and forth between phone calls, FaceTime, and texting.
Okay. So
But a lot of it was visual.
She could tell like physical differences
Yes.
and vocal differences.
Yes.
Wow.
She said during this whole time, it would just repeat himself, go on for hours. And she'd sit there, talk him down. He'd come back to normal. It would be normal for a while. And then all of a sudden the switch and he'd go, and then he'd go off and do it again. And she said, I don't know how, I don't know why, but all I knew was I needed to be there for him. It's like, that's the only thing I could do, was to be there for him, try to talk him down, try to talk him into getting some sleep, eating some food. Third day. So that's day 1 and day 2 is just this cycle. On the third day, she said she jumps on a call with him, FaceTime. And this time, she only catches glimpses of his normal self. So only a couple times in the day she thought it was actually him. The rest of the time, it's this something else. She said on this day, his eyes were completely blank. Most of the call, most of the interactions, he was expressionless. She said he looked like a serial killer. Barely moving. His eyes were dead. She said, I could feel even through the screen, like the darkness coming off him, and something was not okay. So she called the same aunt, kind of brought her up to speed and was like, you need to go check on him. And he has a son who's with him. So the aunt shows up, picks up the son, packs up some things. She's there for maybe an hour, packs up some things, probably encourages him to get some sleep. And he, I don't know, goes into the other room or something. She takes the son and leaves. And now he's alone in the house. And she said he was a shell of himself, just like sitting in the corner, barely moving, reacting to nothing, all alone in this house. She said while talking to him, he would be looking at her and then like look off to the camera and start talking to people that weren't there. And those people, from what she could gather, like his conversation with them, were convincing him to kill himself. And she's just watching this. The only thing she can think is just stay with him, bring him back, stay with him, bring him back. She said, as she's talking to him, she's starting to notice things in the house. She looks past him into the kitchen, and he's in the army, or he served. His house is spotless before this. The kitchen is a complete wreck. Plates, dishes, things are turned over. It's disgusting. And she's like, something's not right. Something is not right. She knows at this point, he's barely slept. It's been like 2 or 3 days since he's eaten food, and all he's been doing is drinking almost continuously. She said by the 5th day, there was no rational talking to him. There was no conversation back and forth. He had gone completely black. She said at one point, he shuts his phone off, and she doesn't talk to him for 24 hours. Text, call, nothing. So she calls the family again, says, you need to go check on him. Family comes, find him, finally convince him, pour out the rest of the alcohol that he had, and to take a nap and eat food. And he does. After this nap, he calls CJ, and she goes, I knew it was him the second he got back on the phone. Like he was back. He seemed coherent. He seemed back. He seemed almost positive, but he said he just felt insanely sick. Like he was getting over a hangover, but this time it was big. So she's like, okay, just nap it off, eat some food, continue to sleep. And he says, hey, I can't remember the last 5 days. She's like, what? He said, basically, he was like, what day is it? She said, it's Sunday. And he says he can't remember anything past Monday night, like nothing. But they feel like they're kind of through the worst of it. So they're like, okay, go take a nap. Just get better. He's like, okay. And this is where we switch to the boyfriend's point of view. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to finish the whole thing.
At this point, I feel like there's not a lot you can do. I'm thinking the best thing is like therapy. But even that's not like immediate, you know, not like the ER or something.
I know you'd feel just lost. Like, what do I do? And especially not being able to be there.
Yeah.
It would be so difficult. So from his point of view, he says he has zero recollection of like those 4 days.
And how does he feel at this point?
He says terrible. It's like the worst hangover
Like
ever.
hangover, yeah.
So he decides he's now alone in the house. His aunt's going to keep his son one more night just so he can focus on getting better. He feels so sick. He tries to go to sleep and sleep it off. And this is like the first time in 4 days he's slept.
Mm-hmm. This dude has a good support system, it sounds like.
Yeah. Good people in his life.
Thankfully.
So he's like, okay, I'm going to go to bed. Goes up to his room, lays down, is tossing and turning all night. So he goes, okay, I don't know. I'm going to go sleep in the front room. It's a little more open. I'll feel better. And he goes to the front room, lays down. And as he's kind of tossing and turning and falling asleep, something out of the corner of his eye catches his attention. And he looks over at the blinds of the window. And he sees something. And he gets closer. And he can see something is written across the entire blinds. And not only just one blind, every blind.
Are these the vertical or horizontal blinds?
I think they're the horizontal.
Okay. They're the ones that like you can raise up with like the
Yeah.
weird
There's probably
rope
like
thing.
50
Yeah.
little wooden things.
Slats almost.
And what it says over and over and over is, "F you, f this house. F you, f this house. F you, f this house." Hundreds of times. So he gets closer to it. He's looking at it, puts his thumb up and rubs it. Doesn't go away. It's almost like it's scratched into the wood. First thought is, when my aunt came over, she had her kids, so his little cousins. It was about an hour maybe they wrote this, and he's staring at it. And at this point, he knows he lost 4 days. So he knows he's not 100%. And he thinks, okay, am I imagining this? Takes out his phone, takes a picture, looks at the phone and zooms in, clear as day on his phone. Fuck you, fuck this house. Fuck you, fuck this house. And he gets overwhelmed, sets his phone down and goes, oh, like, I need a minute. Goes to the kitchen, fills up a glass of water. And as he's drinking, he's looking out the kitchen window and sees on the blinds of the kitchen window, fuck you, fuck this house. Same, written on every blind across the entire thing, like almost etched into the blinds. So,
He's not still thinking it's the cousins, the kids.
No, because he looks at the other window in the kitchen, same thing on those blinds. And he runs to every window in the house. And these are written on every blind of the house.
That's so menacing, dude. Even like if he was like episodic and he did that, still.
Oh, yeah.
Any scenario you play out is like not chill.
Not cool.
Even if it is your cousins, it's like, that's kind of not chill.
Oh, yeah.
Because the dedication to write it on every blind of every window of every house.
And scratched in almost.
And if you like know anything about like portals, aka doors and windows, it's just like, and if you know anything about like spell casting and stuff like that, there's so many connotation there that's like eerie. So he's overwhelmed, almost like he's trapped in the house.
Rightly so.
Yeah, every single window has this written over the house. So he's like, and it's in the middle of the night, and he goes, I have to have a smoke. So he steps onto his back porch, lights his cigarette. And in the light of his cigarette, he looks across his yard. And there's a C train or a trailer that his landlord keeps there to like store stuff in huge letters written across the front of the C train is "Fuck you, this house." I'd imagine his heart like stops. He said he put out the cigarette, slowly walked up to the trailer and felt onto the trailer. And he's like, the words were there. He's still not 100% sure. Takes out the phone, takes a photo. It's clear as day in the photo.
If we were to go along with the idea that it was him, like he was outside, unconscious, like doing this, you know, like if he was in his house, at least he's like confined within the walls of his home. But if he's like wandering outside, like where else did he go? You know, if it was him. But if it's someone else, then they're getting into his house, you know.
So I'm sure all of these things are going through his head.
Yeah.
And at this point, he's so overwhelmed and so tired. All he can think is, I got to go lay down. So he goes back inside and he lays down. He said he slept for about a solid hour, which is good at this point. Really solid for him. Wakes up, darkness. It's like in the middle of the night. Also, keep in mind, this is after he's poured out all alcohol and after he's completely stopped drinking. Okay. So he's woken up, he had his rest, and he remembers the writing, the windows. Looks over at the window and squints, and it's dark. It must be his mind playing tricks. And he walks up to the blinds, and there is nothing on the blinds. Runs to the kitchen. Nothing on the kitchen blinds. Nothing on any of the windows. And he goes, surely the trailer. So he steps out on the back porch, middle of the night. Nothing on the trailer. Only this time, as he's standing on his porch in complete darkness, he notices on the right side of the trailer in the back corner of his yard, the darkest corner, like covered in trees, almost pitch black. There's an old shed, dilapidated, covered in vines, weeds, barely kept up. But he can see in the doorway of the shed the silhouette of a couple people standing there. He said the silhouette looked like adolescent teens, like teenagers. Several things run through his mind super quickly. How the hell did they get back here? There's gates with locks. There's like no other way to get back there. What the hell are they doing in the middle of my backyard on a Sunday night for no reason? And what am I going to do? So he decides he's going to approach them and he's going to ask them what they're doing, why they're here. As he gets closer, he can kind of make out more and more details and realizes it's 2 boys and 3 girls standing in a circle. All of their heads are bowed and they're all wearing low caps or a hoodie. And they're all looking away from him. So I think he starts out by saying like, what are you guys doing here? No answer. And he gets a little closer. He said he comes right up to the trailer and he decides if I go straight, I'll have way less of an escape route. If I'm about to fight 5 teenagers, I need an escape route. So he decides he's going to kind of backtrack, go around the trailer, and it will bring him right by them, and he'll have like a clear way to run. So he goes, okay. Goes back, goes around the trailer. He's going to come around the trailer pretty hot. And he'll be about 10 feet away from him. So he runs past the trailer, comes into the clearing, sees all of them, and he goes, get the f*** out of my yard. And as he yells that, keep in mind he's about 10 feet from him, he sees they're all standing around one girl. She's in the middle of the circle. She's wearing a black and white checkered hoodie. And as he does that, he's coming in hot, getting closer and closer to him. The girl bends at the waist, except it's backwards. And he said out of where her waist is, it looked like arms begin to come out like this. He said it stopped him dead in his tracks.
What is going on, dude?
He literally like took his final step and just stopped, skid to a halt, eyes wide, and he sees this thing shape-shifting. But the second he stopped, it stopped shape-shifting. And like 1 second passes, he spins on a dime and sprints back to his house. He reaches his patio and yells, I don't want any trouble. Please stop. Please leave. I'm sorry. Slams the door. lock, grabs a flashlight and shines it into the back corner. It's a powerful flashlight. He said the beam of light gets swallowed up within like 10 feet. It's just completely black. So he takes the flashlight, runs to the front room, sits in his lazy boy, and doesn't move or sleep the entire rest of the night. Okay, so that was Sunday night. Monday morning, 9:30 a.m. He's like stayed up the entire night, didn't sleep. He's just sitting in his chair. 9:30, he feels comfortable enough. He goes, okay, I got to try to sleep. So he kicks the lazy boy back, leans back, and right when he closes his eyes, he hears a woman yell in a high-pitched voice, "I see you." Simultaneously, dum 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 dum. Someone runs upstairs and across the top stair floor. His eyes pop open and he sits up in his chair. They're in the house. Runs upstairs, checks the bathroom. Shower curtain, nothing. Checks all rooms. There's nothing up there. House is silent. Goes back to his chair, sits down, closes his eyes again, and this time he hears a whisper in his ear, and it says, "Going to give up so easy? I'm going to kill you."
Holy shit.
So his eyes open up again. He can hear, every time he closes his eyes, he can hear something whispering or footsteps upstairs. So he thinks, I got to call CJ. Call CJ. The second CJ's on the phone, the voices stop, but he can hear someone pacing upstairs. CJ talks to him all day, keeps him grounded, keeps him company, and just listens to him. I think I forgot to say, but she said even during the week when he was going off on the phone saying the worst things possible, she said, it almost felt like an outer body experience for me. Like I was sitting there and he was saying these horrible things, but it was almost like I wasn't hearing them or I wasn't in my body. Like she was almost, I don't know, like maybe protected from it or just separated from it. And during this day, she's just trying to talk to him, listen to him, be there for him. And she says, "Hey, I have a friend. I have a friend who's an energy healer. Maybe you should talk to her." And I think he agrees. He just agrees. He's like, okay. Next day, he has his son back. So he gets his son ready for school, gets him off to school, gets himself ready, and he's going to talk to CJ's friend. This is what, I'm just going to read what CJ's friend said. So she's an energy healer, and she said he gets on the phone with her. I think it might have been FaceTime, and CJ's not there. It's just the boyfriend and the energy healer. Before he's able to fully tell her everything that's happened, CJ's told her very little about the situation. Almost before he starts talking, she says, "You have 5 entities attached to you. One of them has been inside of you." He said, "That's why I couldn't remember the 5-day drinking binge, because she, or the demon who had been inside of him, had taken over completely."
I thought it was 4,
In the backyard, 2 boys, 3 girls.
but 4-day
Oh,
blackout.
I guess it was 5.
You said 5 and 4, but
Oh,
still
my bad.
5.
She explained, okay, this is what the energy healer says to him. Drinking cracks open your crown chakra and leaves you susceptible to evil entities slipping into the cracks. She told me that these demons have likely been with me for a long time and have simply just been waiting for the right opportunity to jump in. There were specific places in my home where there was dark energy built up. For example, my coffee table. She said this is most likely because this is where you sit with your cocktails and where you set your drinks. She also explained to me that my son, during those days of me basically blacking out, had his own guardian angels surrounding him and that he was untouched completely by the entities and the experiences going on in the house. So they go through their process. They do the energy balancing. They have prayers, and they were able to clear all the entities and dark energy out of the house. He said, "I've been sober for over a month. My son and I and our home are safe, and we have had no more experiences. And the heavy, dark feeling in my home, my backyard, and even myself are gone. Things have changed a lot since this extreme experience. We both have made a vow that neither of us ever want to drink ever again in our lives. We are also both extremely careful about who and what we allow into our home. And they close. I don't know who wrote this, but they said, God is real, but so is the devil, and he will fight like hell to take you down. So say your prayers and watch your back. CJ.
Well,
Dude, what a heavy story, dude.
I know. I think even talking to her back and forth after she sent the story in, I said, she was like, don't get me wrong, like I love scary stories, but this was different. And I would agree with her. Like, I love scary stories. And there's just something so different about like, I saw a Bigfoot in the woods to like, I went through 5 days of hell where something inside of me was convincing me to kill myself or harm other people. Like, those are very different. You know what I mean? I did, however, like this story because it's a cautionary tale and it ends, thankfully, happily. They're all better. And in talking to her afterwards, she was like, it's completely different.
mm-hmm.
And we are all like tighter and more careful and safe, and like we know where we stand. And
I'm not saying that you're saying this, but I also don't want to discredit people who have like seen Bigfoot,
totally.
Or like being in the woods and like feeling in danger,
Mm-hmm.
or something that equates to that, because they're all terrifying. They can all be traumatizing, but this one seems it's like weaved with their personal lives. Like it like take away the kids he saw, the writing on the windows and whatnot, and what's he left with? It's his road to sobriety. So that's like deeply personal. So throwing everything else into the mix, the people in the house and the whisperings, just it brings it closer to home and more to life, and it's more relevant.
And I think too, in a lot of different situations and scary situations, the only real thing on the line is your mortality, which in itself is terrifying and is traumatic, 100%, not taking away from that. But in these experiences, it's way more than your mortality that's at stake. It's like
Your sanity.
your salvation, your free will, your agency, like your soul maybe is like having it succumb to this dark thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Just so much more gravity to a story
Yeah.
like this.
Anyway, CJ, thank you so much. I appreciate everyone who writes in. It always seems to me, and this has been a theme that I've seen throughout my life, throughout the lives of others, but when you make like the conscious decision to do better, it always seems like that's when the most opposition comes up. And that's kind of what it sounds like here is like, I don't know.
I just hope that it stays good.
Yes.
Like a month. Like congrats to CJ's boyfriend for being sober for a month. But at the same time, like those events are still seem like it's right behind.
Pretty fresh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's the important of like, once you get there, it's not done. We like to say, endure to the end. But really though, it's like, it's now an ongoing battle to stay there.
Yeah.
But definitely can do it.
This might be too sensitive. I assume not, but the pictures.
I didn't ask, but maybe I will. Because I could conceivably see wanting to delete those.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe afterward there was nothing in them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'll ask. I'll reach out. Anyway, that's me tonight, guys.
Well, thank you. And thank you, CJ.
That's a wild story.
Who's next?
I'm next.
Let's do it.
I don't know if I can fill those shoes. All right. This story was really interesting to me. One, because it takes place outside the States. It's always fun. It feels like we're traveling. Look how desperate we are, dude.
Yeah. Talk in an accent, please.
Two, it's in Australia
Oh, okay.
where everything's trying to kill you.
Valid.
And three, it deals with isolation and being alone. So we'll call this dude Ray. So Ray starts off his story by saying, I was a field geologist, or I am a field geologist. and I was 12 hours north of Adelaide. Where's Adelaide?
It's south. So it's under Sydney, I even think it might be around like the bottom.
I was going to say southeast.
Well, okay. So it looks like that's Australia right there.
Okay.
Sydney's like here, Queensland's here, and Adelaide might be here.
Yeah, it's like just north of Tasmania or...
So does that make sense?
Yeah, that does.
Okay.
So he's 12 hours north of there.
Oh, he's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it sounds like he's in the outback.
Don't quote me, but something like 90% of all the population of Australia is like on the coast.
Mm-hmm.
And Australia is comparable to the size of the US.
Yeah.
And there is no one in the middle.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Awesome. I mean, kind of. Not really. Depends on the situation. We'll see. You'll see. He said he's doing field work in this region. And before I even get to his story, everyone in the comments were talking about, I guess, people from that area or from Adelaide or just know of, this region that he's traveling in. Everyone's attesting to all of the creepy things that are known to have come out of those places.
Can I say some before? Oh, wait, sorry.
Go ahead. No.
Were you going to go on? There's legit talks of like 12-foot kangaroos out there. There's talks of dinosaurs still being out there, of lizards and snakes being like 50 feet long. There are serial killers out there. They actually based a movie off one. I think it's called Wolf's Creek. But anyone who is traveling through the outback, you have to bring gas cans with you because there's not gas stations for thousands of kilometers, thousands of miles. And this guy, if anyone ever came out there, he would kill them.
Take their gas.
Yeah, and they found he would kill them, torture them, hunt them, feed them to dingoes like his dogs. He would like chain them up, let his dogs eat them. But they found like one of his caves was filled with hundreds and hundreds of cars. And that's just like one of his dumping sites. And they still haven't found like anything else.
Damn.
I don't know the full story, but that's like what the movie's based off of. So there's that type of shit going on out there.
Yeah.
Not just the animals, the people are trying to kill you. There's no ozone over Australia. The sun's trying to kill you. Cancer. That's where we are.
Let me add to that. There's one in the thread where everyone was talking about, or somebody mentioned it, and then a ton of replies. People talk about it like, oh, I remember seeing that, on the news a long time ago. But in the 70s, 50 years ago now, a family moved from New Zealand to
Kia ora.
This region.
Good day, mate.
And it was a mother, father, and their 7 children.
Oh, shit.
I didn't get to look into their backstory before all of this happened, but they moved into the outback and they were kind of nomadic. They didn't stay in one area for super long.
Or as Aussies call it, the bush.
The bush, exactly. They stayed in their own makeshift tents. They built sheds out in this area that you're talking about where everything's trying to kill you, honestly. But from their family of 9, they grew to a family of 40.
No, not okay.
It's super not okay. And
Quick math, not okay.
yeah,
Because
by my calculations,
yeah, one woman
Actually.
and one man can't be having that many babies that
Yeah.
quick.
well, this was only discovered in 2010.
40 years later, after 1970.
Yes.
Quicker maths.
Yeah. Oh, damn, Sean. 2010. I graduated from high school in 2010. You guys were 09?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wait, right. While you're
What
graduating, they pregnating.
Yeah. Basically, how it happened was these kids were at play at a school and they're like in a field and the field like opens out to the outback.
Oh, gosh.
And they were kind of far out. And
Far out, bro.
a group of kids saw a young pregnant girl like in the bushes, like an actual bush. And they talked to her and this girl looked dirty, disheveled, young. And the girl explained to them that, the kids were like, where's the daddy? And she explained to them that, oh, my brother, yeah, he's back over there with my family. Yeah. So the kids came back. Super strange,
They're like, let's go have snack time now?
Yeah. One thing led to another. It took until 2012 for the whole family to I mean, they went through this huge like court case and put under like witness protection.
Is this too much shade? What do you know? What nationality they are?
They're white.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, they're Caucasian. But all the pictures of them online, all their faces are blurred. And that's the name of the family is the Colt family. They're known as the Colt Clan.
Oh my
C-U or
God.
C-O?
Colt Clan. Yeah. So the Colt Clan this is just what everyone was talking about, the Colt Clan in that area. And they're like, someone was like, watch out for the Colt Clan out there. So this dude, Ray, is driving out to this area, and he says, one day I was driving the truck and saw what looked like a flagpole sticking up in the middle of nowhere. You know, there's no buildings, no structures. And he gets closer and closer and realizes this is not a flagpole. He gets out of his truck and he walks up to it, and it's a wooden post. And on top of the post, trigger warning, is a dog impaled from top to bottom. Like the wooden post is coming out of its mouth. He said he didn't know if it was like a domesticated dog or like a wild dingo, but he got in his truck and he turned right around and drove back.
Smart.
That was a story. It's super short, but
Super creepy.
it was just a thread of people talking about how they're out in the wilderness, people working on oil rigs, people in the outback in the bush, and what they see when they're alone. So going along with that theme of being isolated, my second short story comes from the same thread. And this one dude is talking about how he worked on ships. And he said he was pretty new to this, like this was a new job. And the whole profession was new, so he was exhausted learning the ropes. He said they were near Alaska working. And he said pretty early on into his job, for the first time, he witnessed the northern lights. And he said for his first time, they were bright, super vivid, and it was just so beautiful.
Bucket list.
Yeah. He said when they finished work, he climbed up to the top of the boat, on top of the roof, and he just laid on the roof and was just staring at the lights. And slowly, his coworkers would come up to the top and lay there with them, and they all just lay there in silence, watching the northern lights, super beautiful, until the whole crew was up top. And it was a small boat, small crew. I think it's about 6 or 7 people. And he said because the lights were so bright, you know, it kind of illuminated a lot of their surroundings. He said they were not super close to land, but they could see, you know, land in the distance. In no way was it pitch black. Up until this point, the only sound we could hear was small waves hitting the boat. And that was pretty much it. You know, just the ocean sounds. All of a sudden, while they're all laying on the top of the roof looking at the northern lights, their eyes are blinded by what they said was a spotlight. They said the spotlight was coming off to the side, and we were in the middle of it. He said we couldn't see because the light was, you know, we were right in this beam. We couldn't make out. He said this thing was close enough so that it wasn't coming from land, from the shore, or the mountains or the hills there. He said it was too high to come from another boat, but low enough where they knew that the light source was pretty close, like not from like as high as like a plane or something. And he said this lasted for like 15 seconds. At this point, they were all standing up, trying to like peer through this beam of light to see what it was. No noise.
So it's not a helicopter.
Not a helicopter. And after 15 seconds, the beam of light turns off, and there's nothing in the air, nothing on the water from the direction of where that light came from.
No other ships.
No ships, just them in the water. He said
Aliens.
He said it was 2 a.m. 2 in the morning. That's 2 a.m. He says, we don't know what it was. He said, after it turned off, the guys were making jokes, trying to make light of it.
Coping jokes.
Yeah.
Hey.
You see those aliens?
Yeah. I don't know what they can do, you know.
Yeah.
After a couple of minutes, they all sit back down and they're just talking about what just happened. And boom, they're blinded again
Oh no.
by another light. And this time it's on the opposite side of their boat. No, on the ocean side. And this one was shorter, but click, goes off again, nothing. Nothing in sight, no sound. And that was the last of it. This dude says, we don't know what it was. We think it might have been some sort of silenced aircraft the military was probably doing drills or something. But this was one of the weirder things to happen out on the ocean. So,
Sounds like one for Scoob and the gang. I don't know about you, but I feel like you're just so vulnerable out on the water. Like, you can't go anywhere. And if you do, it's going to be freaking slow.
Yeah, at like a 2 miles an hour.
yeah.
Like, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Mm.
We're going at 3 knots, mate. They're back in Australia. What? No, yeah. All of these stories that I was reading, I had the same feeling. Just the isolation, being alone. The dude in the Outback with the
pole?
dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
Not
what
cool.
you going to do?
Put another dog on the barbie.
His flag is at half mast stiff
Oh, God.
because like dogs.
I hate you.
Dude, yeah, that would be terrifying. You
Mastiff.
That slow burn, dude.
you gotta like the scenarios you'd be going through your head to like try and rationalize what you just experienced, what you've been through. Yeah, it's like you'd quickly check off everything that kind of makes sense, and then you're just left with nothing.
Yeah, sure.
F you, dog.
Oh, man. That was good. But that was me.
Thanks, Deej. All right, it's my turn.
I'm trying to think of a joke about Pledge Allegiance, but
I just thought of
hand
like,
over your bark. No.
shrimp skewers and the dog.
Oh, gosh.
Dog on the Barbie. That's all
Rip.
I could think of.
Thanks, Deej.
Did you know Silento's real name is Richard Hawk?
What are you saying?
Did you know Silento's real name is Richard Hawk?
Who is Siline Toe?
Silento.
Oh,
We talked about him earlier.
I thought you were
Silento's.
saying Silent Toes or
That's
something.
what I heard, too.
Did you know Silento's real name? The rapper we talked about earlier, Silento. His real name is Richard Hawk.
Richard Hawk.
Dick Cock.
Dick
Whoa.
cock, dude.
He's not real. That's a glitch in the Matrix. That's not real. None of that's real.
Sean, you had a story?
I sure do.
Should we talk about Silentos for a while?
Silent Toes. All right. So I had like 4 stories. I'm going to do like 2.
Okay.
So,
Screw you, listeners.
yeah, you have to get all the rest on our.
I'm really sorry. I have to. It's coming out the gate.
Sean, that's you tonight.
All right, my turn, guys. So I got a couple stories for you. First one comes from a listener. Name is Mike. He was saying, hey, shout out to you guys because I always listen to your pod while I'm at the gym. I was like, same, bro. Not our pod, but like different pods.
But your pod.
But your pod, Mike. So Mike is, from the story, it sounds like he's the youngest sibling because he says all growing up, his older brothers and sisters knew that he was like, he didn't like scary stories, and they would always make fun of him and like tell him scary stories from their LDS missions and stuff like that, as big brothers and sisters should do.
Full circle, Mike.
Yep. He eventually is going to go on his own LDS mission. And a few weeks or a month or so before he's going to leave, weird stuff starts happening to him. He says one night his bedroom is down in the basement, directly beneath his parents' bedroom. And he said he woke up to someone whispering his name. So just Mike or Michael. And it woke him up, and he kind of started looking around his room. It was like someone was there right next to his bed, and he didn't see anything or anyone around. But needless to say, he's still pretty freaked out about it. So he goes and gets the family pet, the dog, and he's like, hey, yo, come sleep with me tonight. Nothing else happens the rest of the night. The next day, he goes to his mom's like, yo, mom, craziest thing happened to me. I woke up, someone was whispering my name. And his mom's like, you probably just dreamed it or something.
That sucks.
It's how I imagine I would react as a parent. Be like, well, sounds like a personal problem.
Why are you listening?
Yeah, just go to bed. Wear earplugs next time. Something like that. A few nights later, though, he's asleep, wakes up once again. Michael. He wakes up instantly, looks around his room. Nothing. This time he had the family pet with him. The dog was there in the bed. And his dog was also awake, looking around the room like something was there. And so he's really getting freaked out at this point, and he doesn't know what to do. Goes back to bed. Nothing else happens the rest of the night. He tells his mom again the next day. I probably wouldn't have at this point because I'm just going to make fun of by my mom.
Yeah.
Once again, she's like, you're probably just dreaming. Maybe try sleeping in the guest room or something like that. He decides one more night he's going to sleep in his room. This time, though, he flips the TV on before he goes to bed. His logic was, if the TV's on, nothing's going to happen. I'm good.
Dude, I think that.
Well, sorry.
I fell asleep on the couch last night watching TV, and I woke up at 4, and I laid there awake, wide awake till 4:30, because I was like, man, if I turn this TV off, that's going to be silent and dark, and something's going to happen.
Every once in a while, I'll wake up and go into the living room in the morning, and Kevin will be asleep on the couch with the TV on still. I'm like,
I'm no like spirit expert, but I firmly believe and will prescribe this to our listeners. If you're experiencing spooky stuff, turn on a Disney movie.
Disney
That's all
movie
you gotta do.
And get under a blanket.
I'm real about the Disney movie thing now. It's like anytime I'm feeling spooky, I just throw on like a feel good. But there is like power to that, is what I'm saying.
That's true.
Like,
Yeah,
Mike's
yeah.
not wrong for doing that.
No, yeah. And I don't know what he was watching, but later that night, Michael,
Even through the TV?
even through the TV,
Okay, immediately proves my theory wrong.
Debunked.
he sits
Myth
up and
busted.
Don't listen to me anymore. Unsubscribe.
I mean, if it works for 9 in 10 people, it still works.
Okay, true.
So, sorry, Mike.
The 10th dentist.
So he sits up in his bed and he's looking around his room, super freaked out at this point. Dog's there looking around as well. Nothing, there's no one in there.
And this thing is more powerful than Disney movies. So.
This thing is more powerful than a Disney movie. Eventually, he's able to fall back asleep. The next day, though, he decides to go sleep in the guest room. Nothing happens. He sleeps in the guest room for another week or two. Nothing happens. And he's about ready to leave now on his LDS mission. Goes back to sleep in his room. Everything was good. Never happened again. He then heads out on his mission, and he goes to what we call missionary training center. You usually go for a month to 3 months, depending on where you're going to go after that. And a week or two after he's in the MTC, he gets a letter. This letter is from his mom. His mom says, hey, now that you're out in the MTC, I just didn't really want to scare you while you were here. But every single night that you came to me the next day telling me you heard someone whisper to you, I would wake up in the middle of the night and I would see a dark figure standing in the corner of my room. It happened on the 3 times that you told me about, or 2 times because he didn't tell her the third. And eventually we went and got the bishop to come and bless the house, and it never happened again after that. But to this day, Mike is still alive, breathing. He's good. His mom wasn't making fun of him, just, trying to protect him.
Okay, now I feel like an ass. I cast judgment on that mom. She's just protecting him the whole time. I don't want to cast any more judgment, but did she do the right thing by not saying anything?
I mean, if she was planning on bringing in someone to bless the house, I could see that being as the right move.
Just not wanting to freak him out.
Yeah. I mean, there could have been 2 different ways of doing that. One would be like, yeah, you're freaking haunted, bro.
Yeah, I think she did the right thing, because I think of my kid, and Mike was 18, 17 at the time.
Yeah.
Especially if they were younger, like 8, like someone keeps calling my name in the middle of the night in my room from the dark.
You're going to die.
And I'd be like, oh my goodness, me too.
No, mom.
What are we gonna What are we gonna do?
Yeah, what do you think we should do?
What's your plan of action?
Mom, I came to you for answers.
Yeah, I think that she did the right thing.
Damn you two.
Ooh, you did.
I'd be like, did you see the dark figure too?
Well, have you been sinning? It's because you keep touching yourself.
Oh, that's so funny.
He does have a bunch of other stories, which I'll get into later. But thanks, Mike, for that one. My second story comes from a girl named Kim, and she is living in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And you know how we've talked about this before, where we'll be in a group and we'll get just that feeling where something's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you never hear the ones where something was wrong and
Like
it
the
ended
closure
in
after?
tragedy.
Oh shit.
For our patrons, you'll hear what happened to Kim one night.
I'm so stupid. I know it's coming, but it still gets me.
I didn't know that one was coming.
But, like, I know every episode at some point it has to come, but like it still just gets me
It's
every
still
time.
surprising, dude.
I can't imagine how y'all feel. Go to Patreon.
Patreon.com/the 3 a.m. podcast.
Yeah.
Nope.
Pod.
3 a.m.
Lord.
pod.
Yes.
Sorry, y'all.
Someone's sitting at their computer. What the do I type?
We know you're all there right now.
Yeah.
Right?
So press enter.
Pod
and
podcasts. What
is it?
The 3 a.m. pod. Just go to our link in our bio on Instagram.
Yeah, link in bio, Instagram. You find it.
Or if you're listening to this on iTunes, there's a link in the description.
Oh, that's true. I seen that. So
We're pretty good now. Pretty professional.
we got links everywhere. Okay, so back to Minneapolis, Minnesota. Kim is going to college. She has a roommate. Oh, shit.
And we're back.
And we're back. Y'all missed out this episode.
So many things. Dude, tonight was fun.
Yeah, no, that was good. We started out, like good in a different way.
Very serious.
And then we, got to the funny, scary story at the end, like I told you.
Yeah. None of it makes sense.
Stabbings. Hilarious.
Anyway, tonight was awesome. Thank you, all of our listeners, everyone who sends in stories. Please continue to do it. Freaking please, dude. I beg of you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for telling people. Every day we get cool messages like, I don't know if I told you recently, but Kevin showed a friend who listened to like one episode and then went back and listened to our entire discography. There's so many people who message us and they're like, I just found you guys. I'm trying to catch up. Like we're telling them to or something. They're like, I'm so sorry, I'm not caught up yet. It's like,
Catch up, y'all.
what? I'm just surprised you listen to one. So
I'm pissed.
the
hell is wrong
Don't
with you?
message me until you've listened to every minute. But anyway, welcome all of our new listeners, all of our old listeners. We have not forgot you. Y'all are the ones who encouraged us to go in the beginning. So thank you, everyone.
Shout out.
Until next time, trust your gut and watch your back.
Bye. Love you. Be safe.
Question everything.
Nice.
Hey, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of 3 a.m. If you want to support us, visit our Patreon where patrons have access to exclusive content. If you're not able to support us monetarily, don't worry. This episode is on us. You can still rate and review us on whatever platform you listen to us on. It really does go a long way. You can also follow us on social media. Our handle everywhere, including Patreon, is the 3 a.m. pod. Finally, do you have any scary stories? If so, submit them to our website, the3ampodcast.com. We love any audio or visual aids that can help bring your stories to life. So file uploads are welcome with your written submissions. We're anxious and excited to hear from you.